Hello, this is my personal experience speech. This is my audience. My sister is holding the phone. These are my dogs. Well, one dog and my sister's dog. And let's begin. It was early one February morning in Aleppo, and I was feeding my 2-month-old Berlina, who always seemed to be up at the crack of sun. I could hear the city slowly beginning to wake up. More and more cars passed on the street below. It was a typical day in this Civil War-stricken country. The attacks along checkpoints and random stray missiles in the area became increasingly frequent. Still, people in the area had no choice but to become comfortable with the ongoing situation. Children still walked to school. Adults went to work. The only difference was the fear and uncertainty of not returning home to their family, or returning to a home and see them leveled to the ground. Little did I know, in minutes, it would also be one of those normal days. I remember lying down as my daughter finally fell back to sleep on my chest after breakfast when the loudest sound of my life went off. A piercing shriek that what led to sound like a 10-ton tractor being thrown through a building. Simultaneously, I felt shaking as if an earthquake was happening. Then I noticed screaming and people running through the streets as people scrambled outside to understand what was happening after the shaking. All I could feel was my body fall weak, as if a battery ran out. I could also feel my body. I tried to muster up the energy and look from the balcony to see what had happened. I could see emergency vehicles racing towards the security building, which was 2 blocks from my home. I could see windows shattered out of the building from the vibrations, and other women and children looking from their balcony. While men made their way towards the scene, we were the few lucky ones that had no damage. Although I had concerns about what had happened, my only worry was whether there'd be more to come. Should we be running, hiding? The bomb was not the first strike in the area, and it will most likely not be the last. The only question was, when would the next be hitting? Frantic thoughts continued pouring through my mind. Was it me, or was me and my family going to die like this? Would I ever see my parents again? Pleading to my husband at the time to leave and go back to New York. This was not an option. Most businesses, roads, and airports were closed. We were trapped. I felt my body and just started to feel more and more abnormal. That was the moment I assumed it was just from what happened. A feeling of being scared and overwhelmed simultaneously. Nope, the next thing I knew, I was on the floor. I had fainted. The shock was from what almost happened, scared me to death. For days I had extreme weakness, and I couldn't keep anything down. I went to the local physician. They said I was scared to cause my liver to fail, and explained that it was a type of psoriasis of the liver. Large amounts of adrenaline became toxic in my body. It was necessarily being scared to death. I never knew this was something that could be true, but without medications, I very well could have died from it. Unfortunately, this was the last straw for me and my family. Trying to stick it out through the war, we decided to find tickets and leave as soon as we could. It took until April and many more close calls before we could find any availability. By then, Aleppo was starting to look like a movie. No electricity or water for the most of the day. Burned garbage trucks blocked roads, and there was more checkpoints to try to regulate who came in and out of the city. It was unreal how a place we called home was no longer safe or recognizable. We have lived through such a hard situation and made me thankful for what I could take for granted daily. I still cherish every day now, my health, my daughter, doing well in a safe place, access of everyday needs like water, electricity, food, and most of all, safety. It was a life-altering lesson, and I wish no one would have to endure. Many feel in life America is difficult, but it is a paradise to other countries that are literally living in hell. Thank you. This is my audience, my sister.